Good afternoon, Tom and Shanna. How are you both?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks, Mark.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us all inside the Australian Property Investing Hub, where today we've got two fresh-faced juniors who are embarking upon their property investing journey. So we're going to share your story today, guys. Are you excited about that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know I have been waiting around for this one for a little while to bring your story to the other members inside the group here. So you guys are more prepared than what I've ever been for an interview such as this. This is what generally happens is that I'll prepare, a bit of a guide, that's pretty ad hoc sort of thing. And so what happens, Tom comes back to me the other day, Shanna, and he says, righto, these are the questions you're going to ask me and this is the sequence you're going to go with. I said, righto.
Yeah,
So,
just wanted to be prepared.
I love the organisation. So let's kick it off, guys. I acknowledge your time, and I know it's important. You're both working from home at the moment, so thanks for joining us in here. So let's talk about, I suppose, your property journey so far and some of your goals together.
Yeah, sure. So just to start off with, I bought my first property back in 2015 as my principal place of residence, two-bedroom apartment in Hawthorne in Melbourne. I'd say I bought it over market value at the time, and the main drivers for my decision was pretty basic stuff. It was a blue chip suburb, an older style apartment building, had big bedrooms and a rental demand, and I was a bit of a guest fester. It's a bit of a term I learned from one of the seminars, and it definitely wasn't a data-driven decision. But fast forward 5 years, and I've managed to knock a little bit of mortgage off and seen the property grow in value, which enabled me to unlock some equity. And then Shanna and I met in 2017, the year the Tigers won the grand final. So probably one of the best years of my life, mate. So I'll hand over to that.
And then when we met, I already had purchased a two-bedroom apartment in Maribyrnong. So I purchased it with the intention of living near work. So I worked locally near Maribyrnong at the time, and I'm still working there now. Maribyrnong's a growing suburb, and there's a new estate in Edgewater that's been developed. So I bought in that estate, hoping that it would be a large growth area, and it has increased in value since I have purchased it, but probably not as much as I'd hoped it would.
Yeah.
So what do we call her then, Tom?
What was that, mate?
What do we call Shanna then with that purchase? We call her a guest.
A guest fester.
Yeah, I'll pick that up. So well done, mate. I'm glad you took something away from the experience with us. That's fantastic. So thanks for sharing that, because that's very important. So you both basically started with your own PPRs, had very little data-driven sort of decision-making around those, and just thought you get yourself into the game because that's what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did we connect?
Yeah. So in terms of connection, I actually met you, Mark, through the cricket club, as you know, and I've started to follow you on LinkedIn, and you put forward some really engaging and insightful content about property investing, which I followed and took some interest in. And that was sort of aligned with, my previous interest in property investing anyway. So I just decided to reach out to you, Mark, ask for a coffee, and you might recall the flat tyre situation. Our first appointment, I was on my way back from work to meet with Mark, and Mark came to my house to meet me, and I copped a flat tyre on the way. So we were off to a flyer, but it was great. We still had the conversation over the phone. And from there, mate, it was pretty much, you invited us to one of the seminars, and we both attended that and listened to some really insightful stories from some people about their first-hand experience and achievements with property investing, which from our perspective just really inspired us to take action.
Yeah, fantastic. And whereabouts was the seminar that we hooked up, mate? Or
it was a seminar in Fairfield.
In Melbourne.
Pre-COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, pre-COVID. So that was last year, wasn't it? Earlier this year. Sorry.
Yeah, earlier this year.
Earlier this year. So yeah, that's cool. No, that's good stuff. So Alex is just on here. Remember Alex?
Yes.
The over and above family. She's laughing about our lingo. So how you've caught up on the the guest Vesta type stuff. So it's got someone laughing up there in Queensland. So thanks Alex for sharing that. So let's talk about the process of securing that investment property and what were some of the non-negotiables for you guys?
Yeah. So now with my property as an investment property and Tom and I living together, we decided that, this time we did have some non-negotiables for our next investment property. So they were, with our location, we had an open mind about that. We were happy with anywhere in Australia. Under the market value, so we're hoping to get, good value for the property that we were purchasing in a high growth area with a low vacancy rate. And we were looking at a property that didn't require any renovation. So being our first investment property could possibly be in another state. So we thought, okay, for our first kind of one together, we won't look into renovating or anything like that just yet.
Yeah. We're going to just walk straight into, and we'll have a tenant walk straight into and be ready to lease out.
Yeah, fantastic. So it wasn't something that we wanted to sort of roll up the sleeves and implement a strategy from day one, have that work done, but down the pathway somewhere at some point in time into the future, there's the implementation of different options. So that's that's really cool. So thanks for sharing some of those non-negotiables because it's very important when you are buying interstate, as you know, and that's what sort of takes us into the next point. What was the process for you guys like in buying something that you sort of couldn't drive around the corner to see, and how was that experience?
Yeah.
It all happened really quickly, actually. So we had one property that you had brought forward to us that you highly recommended, and straight away it ticked all the boxes for us. It was based in Queensland, and great value, high growth area. Didn't need any renovations. So, based on your recommendation, it actually, we felt comfortable to proceed with this, and it actually happened a lot quicker than we thought it would.
Yeah, and we just wanted to make the point that, one of our initial expectations was, we naturally thought we'll get heaps of different options, we'll be able to toss them around and pros and cons. But with this one, just how it unfolded, this was the one for us, essentially, and we never felt pressured that we're going to grab this one. We definitely went back and forward and did our due diligence, and we're really comfortable with your recommendation, Mark, to proceed with interstate property. In terms of the process of buying interstate, the use of artificial intelligence was integral for us. We received some really detailed reports from House, which enabled us to make informed decisions based on facts and future growth projections of the area. I like getting into the detail with this sort of stuff, and when I read through the reports, key facts that stood out for us was projected average of 7.5% growth each year for the first 5 years, low vacancy rate, estimated rent of $300 a week to generate positive cash flow, and a yield of 6.4%. Could not fault the location whatsoever. Strong infrastructure projects, employment opportunities, the ease and accessibility to Brisbane and the Gold Coast. And just another point, I think buying interstate took away the emotion because you weren't there touching and feeling the property and inspecting it. You were sort of abreast of what was happening. And I just felt personally, and I think Shanna's aligned as well, it took away a little bit of that emotion with the buying process.
Yeah, absolutely, because it only takes one thing for you to sort of pick up on, and you sort of stick to that. And you touched on the area in the proximity, and what we're finding at the moment, you guys, is that the vacancy rates have really reduced even further because a lot of people are migrating out of Brisbane to the more affordable locations, but still being able to commute into the capital city of Brisbane because it's only like 40-minute drive or 45 kilometres on the train and rail network. So, with all that information and the AI and the research and the data-driven stuff, there's so many tools that we're now integrating well and truly beyond what we sort of were using back when we identified your opportunity as well. So there's so many other tools now that we have access to, which is further supporting, our decision to lead you guys into this direction. And obviously no one really predicted what would happen and has happened over the last few months either. So that's definitely going to impact most areas. But what we do know is that, the area of Ipswich is due to double in population in the next, anywhere between 12 to 15 years. Yeah. So, where we've positioned you guys is on the land size that we have and the options available to us into the future is really positioning you at an entry point. Let's talk about that just for a second. And I don't know whether you're alluding to that later on in the piece, but can we sneak that in now? What did you actually pay for the property?
So we paid $225.
Okay, and what rental income have we secured?
$300 a week. Yeah.
$300 a week. So you look at that, and I think that's around quick maths from my brain, 6.93%. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We've got those sort of yields with no value add required at this point in time to generate that. So let's now talk about the support and the expertise. Yeah,
sure. So, and just before we run into that, just another little point around future, and you've just alluded to it, Mark, but massive block. And that was another great thing about this property. It's I think it's on 800 square. Is it 800 square?
873.
873 square, and the property sort of up the front end, but massive backyard. So it just opens up the options for future opportunities to potentially subdivide it. So that's just another factor as well. But in terms of support and expertise, obviously, Mark, thanks so much, mate, for setting up a team of people around us that were key in facilitating the end-to-end process. Obviously yourself, you got us in contact with people in your network that you had relationships with. Craig, our mortgage broker, did a magnificent job. Andrew, our solicitor, Toby and Alex, over and above partners up in Queensland, and they were great in terms of being on the floor, on the ground floor, checking out the property and giving us feedback. We weren't able to physically inspect the property due to COVID restrictions, but it was an easy workaround we found. As we said before, really detailed videos that we received of the property, all going in and out of all the different rooms, all the outbuildings, the property itself, really detailed photos. Jumped on Google Earth and had a good eyeball of the property as well.
And then we also had a few questions about the property. So we had a question about the fence line and whether there was a back fence separating our property that we were looking at from the one behind it. So then, Toby came back straight away with a video of the back fence line for us. So any questions that we had, we had that video evidence straight away. So that was really helpful as well.
Yeah, and Mark, you were obviously great in negotiating the price of the property under market value to begin with, and that just got things rolling on a positive note right from the outset. And in terms of support, Mark, you were the link between us and the selling agent throughout the process, and you kept us abreast of all the different moving parts that were happening at the time. Finance, legals, building and pest inspections, negotiating with the seller in regards to settlement. So, you kept us in the loop and really well supported.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you experienced that, because that's what we pride ourselves on, is really you talk about holding your hand through the process. That's what it's really about, is not feeling like you're on your own at any point in time. And that's the license you guys have once you join our community, is to be able to reach out at any point in time. If there's any uncertainty at all, it's a question. And the accessibility of that, as we've been on Messenger or whatever it is at all hours of the night time. So it's not, we just live and breathe it. And we love to see people like you, establish yourselves now to grow your position. And let's talk now about some of the learning experiences you've had.
Yeah, sure. So, it wasn't just a matter of sitting back and seeing it all unfold and being hands-off with the process. We had to be proactive. We had to follow up, make inquiries, and be accountable, because it's a partnership at the end of the day. So It's about working together. We were encouraged to get curious, ask lots of questions, take the lead. We always felt comfortable with challenge as well. If I had a different view to what you were saying, Mark, I'll say that view, and then we'll go back and forward, and we'll probably meet somewhere in the middle. We always felt comfortable to challenge. We always felt comfortable with our support, and was trusting of the experts' advice for us to make informed decisions as investment property people. It wasn't just your advice, Mark, but it was other people's advice as well that you connected us with. One of the other learning experiences is the building and pest inspection side of things. There were some challenges along the way in the lead up to the settlement. At the end of the day, we were buying a 60-year-old Queenslander. And it came with some surprises. And termite activity was one of them in one stump. And we learned a lot about termites. And I had to ask lots of questions just to satisfy my curiosity around termites. And at the end of the day, it's a controllable risk. That's what I've learned. You can put measures in place, and in terms of, a little bit of termite damage in one stump. Well, you know what? Obviously, replace a stump, and there were some other minor improvement works that needed to be done on the property. And thanks, Mark, for negotiating that into the process as well. With the seller agreeing to obviously pay for those improvement works, but also if there's any knock-on effects resulting from those improvement works, then the seller would also absorb that cost. So that just gave us some comfortable. We felt comfortable with that. So thank you.
Yeah, that's good that you felt comfortable, because we held the aces through that process. And, I was definitely comfortable in, satisfying the needs of what, because the way we look at everything we buy, it's a matter of, this isn't our client's acquisition. This is our acquisition together. So it's a matter of what would I or what would we be comfortable with to purchase this property? How would I do it if I wanted to do it on my own? And, it's exactly the same as we put 100% effort into exactly the same experience for you guys. There's no shortcuts, and how we cover that and tick every box and make sure that it's not our responsibility that we inherit this. If we're going to inherit the problems, it's once again, as you know, the risk profile. What do we work out as the process of elimination here? What are the cost factors? What's the flow-on effect? What's the risk of owning this thing? So I'm glad you picked up that, and part of that learning experience has definitely been, quite clear in what you've just conveyed to everybody here, and it's quite powerful too.
Yeah, and then even linking back to the support that we mentioned earlier, after the adjustments were made and prior to settling, Toby and Alex provided us with a really detailed inspection of the property to double check that we were satisfied with the building and pest condition. So, we had a detailed video of all the rooms and the amendments that were made. I know Toby even got down on his hands and knees at some points, I think, to zoom in on the flooring to check that we were happy with it. And they sent us videos. So thank you so much to Toby and Alex as well for sending those through.
No, they love it too, and it's a long way down there for the big fella. He's a long way down on the ground there, but you could see the level of detail. I think, Tom, we had a bit of a chuckle about it at one stage when he sort of said, "Oh, let's check the line of the fencing." So Toby's up over the top of the fence line. Is so detailed in his analysis for us to provide you with a level of certainty and comfort. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about positive cash flow from Queensland. That's when we start to talk the bickies.
Yeah, sure. I suppose that's what it's all about at the end of the day. From our perspective, the cash flow from the Queensland property should go back into reducing our principal placement residence debt, as this property has no sort of tax benefit to us, whereas interstate, property has a tax benefits in essence. So I'm still sort of learning about this side of it. So you might need to elaborate a bit more on that, Mark. But
I'm absolutely going to pick you up on that now, because this is all about wealth accumulation, which is what we're doing at the other side, taking that positive net cash flow, transferring it back to that non-tax deductible debt, which is our home loan.
Yeah.
We're actually reducing the home loan faster than we normally would with you working. So what's this actually cost you? If you're leveraging equity and not using cash, cost you nothing. Because you're actually paying off your home loans sooner, and out the other side, once that's paid off, you've actually got a passive income vehicle that will grow in value. So you're setting yourselves up. That's what you're doing. And that's the most powerful wealth accumulation sort of process that we're going through here. So I love the positive cash flow going off, paying off that home loan debt, and that's the most important thing.
Yep. Right.
So yeah, good on you, mate. I really picked up on you, where you were going with that. So I'm glad I'm glad you're learning, because we talk about not just positive cash flow. You got to learn and know the benefit of that. And you're right. You know, when you draw down or you start to pay down that principal place or your home loan debt, you might get to the point where you say, okay, I can actually leverage that based on our income. At what point do we want to create another one of those beasts out the other side there that's working really hard for us, that's going to actually set us up longer term?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I love it. So it's good. So you've got the positive net cash flow that's going to be coming through every week, paying off that bad debt or the home loan debt. And how are we feeling about the purchase?
Well, we've actually secured some tenants which they'll be moving in shortly, so we're really excited about that. We definitely feel at ease now that we have secured a tenant so quickly, and we felt supported throughout the whole process. We're really excited about opportunities from not only this property but also possible future properties to come as well. So we're feeling very positive about the whole experience.
Great. I'm glad you feel empowered, because that's what it's all about too. You're learning, you feel empowered, you're starting to take control of your future, and you are in the driver's seat now. You're not in the back seat. You've moved from the passenger, now you're in the driver's seat. So it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are you wanting to create long term from this? What does it all mean to you?
Yeah, so to begin with, we want to consolidate what we have, which is now the 2 investment properties, and see them work hard for us, reassess in the short term, and then leverage opportunities enabled by growth and positive cash flow and equity, and then go again. So that's kind of a short-term strategy, I suppose, what I've just said there. But it's just, a strategy is a series of steps that you work through. So that's where we see the next step. In terms of the longer term view, as we said before, we both share a goal to build up a high performing property portfolio to deliver financial security for the long term. So that's overall what we're striving to achieve.
And that's fantastic to hear that at such a young age, and have realised that you're in it for the long game. We're talking about entering the investment property space here for both of you as your first investment property together. You look at the entry point, it's extremely low risk, extremely low vacancy rates in this area, and you're getting such substantial yield, but you've also got value add potential with the land.
Yeah.
And this is, so it's a win-win-win-win scenario, but you've done it right from the outset. You're not making a decision and then wondering whether you've done it right and realising in 5 years' time that it was a dud investment and sitting on a lemon like most people do. They really don't understand the performance or why they're actually doing something in the first place. At least you have a plan now. You have a commitment to yourselves and a commitment to the plan to hold yourselves responsible to that. So that's what's really exciting from our point of view, and being able to help young people or older people improve their position with where they want to get to live a better life. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, we definitely felt that security going in well informed.
Yeah.
In making this decision.
Yeah, perfect. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Feeling empowered as an informed investor to make the decision, because you've got all the information, all the data there to back yourself to make that decision with absolute conviction. So well done to you guys. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap it up and get on with the rest of our Friday afternoons?
Oh, just to say thanks once again for all of your support over and above the over and above team, and more broader than that with our A team around us to get this deal done. So thanks again.
We really appreciated all the support.
I love you guys. It's pleasure's all ours, and it's only the start. So we look forward to strap yourselves in, and we're on the ride together. So can't wait.
Thank you.
Right.
Thanks, mate.
Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
All right, see you later. Bye.
All right. So we're off Facebook.
Oh.
So that's so Facebook's done. Stop the recording there. I've just got us on Zoom now. So thank you guys for sharing that and being vulnerable in that space, because it's important that people see that, whether they're young, old, single, whatever. They just got to realise that they can too start from something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's all about. So once again, I'm glad you got the tenant. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
What a balls up that's been. So that's the third one, or is this the fourth one now?
I think it's the third. Yeah.
So when do they move in?
The 31st.
Oh,
But
yeah.
next week, 1 week.
Yeah, perfect. And are you happy with the application?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Secure job.
Yeah, secure job. Passing
Has a
probation.
pet parrot.
He's got a parrot. He's on about $1,200 a week.
That's good.
Yeah, good reference checks as well, and he's just a single father. I think he's moving in by himself.
Yeah.
But if he's on $1,200 a week, that should be fine. So.
Yeah, no, that's good. As long as you got the right tenant in there, that's the main thing. And you just told it. And as you say, you'd start to take the lead, you start to take the reins. Well, it's yours. That's what you need to do. And you step up and you just start to hold people accountable for what you're actually engaging them to do as other professionals, property managers. You're not getting what you need, you speak up. You find the courage to have the direct conversations at times.
Yeah.
And, we go from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, all right. Well, perfect. I appreciate your time, and we'll just keep in touch. Anything I can do for you guys between now and the next few months, shoot anything through.
That's good.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll look forward to keeping in touch. You've got your pack, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I'm surprised to come into.
I was thinking, shit, did they get it or not? I'm thinking, God, I bet I want to get on to Gracie, see whether she sent it.
We text.
Yeah, I'll text Mark. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
We'll have to go out for a drink when we finally.
Oh yeah, 100%. When we can, we'll get out. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Catch up for a beer.
Yep, love to. All right, well, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and thank you again.
No worries, Mark.
Thanks.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Yeah.